From downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News Midday starts now.
Good morning and thanks for watching 23 ABC News at 11. I'm Melissa Flores. This afternoon, Governor Gavin Newsom will make his way to Kern County to visit the site of a massive oil spill in the McKittrick area. Since May, nearly 1 million gallons of oil have spilled in the Simic oil field near McKittrick. That site belongs to Chevron. Chevron is calling the spill a, quote, oil field surface expression. They say that it's working to determine the source of the seep, but says it has stopped flowing and the fluids are contained. Chevron also says there has been no impact to waterways or wildlife. The governor's office says Newsom has received updates on the seepage to ensure the safety of nearby communities and wildlife. The governor will be meeting with the media after his tour just before 2:30 today. Stick with 23 ABC as we will be streaming that press conference on our social media platforms. And the governor making a stop in Fresno County this morning as well. Governor Gavin Newsom was in Sanger as he was set to sign a bill creating a safe and affordable drinking water fund. SB 200 will allocate $130 million to safe drinking water projects around the state. According to the governor's office, there are about 1 million people in California who lack access to safe drinking water. The victims of an overnight double homicide have been identified. 23 ABC's Daniela Garrido has been at the scene just off of California Avenue all morning and spoke with relatives of those who were killed. Daniela?
That's right. Good morning. Overnight, the Bakersfield Police Department ruled it a double homicide. They investigated last night a shooting in the California apartment complex on Easton Drive near California Avenue. This morning, officials confirmed the victims are 45-year-old Tony Charles and 30-year-old Destin Freeman. We spoke with family who tell us the couple has been happily together for 9 years, and they're looking for answers that may have led to this. They say the pair was returning from the west side of town where they were shot outside their apartment. The family doesn't know many details yet, including whether the couple made it out of their cars. For now, we're live in Southwest Bakersfield. Daniela Garrido, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
And this morning, the search continues for anyone connected to another double homicide that happened over the weekend. According to KCSO officials, deputies were called out to the area of East Fairview and Garber Way on Sunday night. When they showed up, deputies say they found 30-year-old Emilio Chavez, who'd been shot multiple times, lying in the road. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Deputies searched Rexland Acres Park and then came across 36-year-old Maribeli Garcia, who was also shot multiple times. She was also pronounced dead at the scene. There is no suspect information at this time other than a white-colored sedan seen leaving the area shortly after that shooting. Bakersfield Police Department is investigating a dead body on Truxton and V Street today. According to BPD, the man is in his mid-50s. It's being investigated as a suspicious death because of the location and positioning of the man's body laying on the grass. The coroner's office is investigating the cause of death, but BPD says they didn't see any immediate trauma. They do not know if foul play was involved yet. All right, we're going to switch gears now, check in with Chief Meteorologist Elena Raska and take a look outside.
That's right. We have some dry air coming on shore. That's why we're pretty sunny out there, and we're pushing against that monsoonal moisture a little bit. It was able to bring us so much action yesterday with those scattered showers, those thunderstorms that even triggered here on the valley floor. Now it looks like those thunderstorms are pushing further out in the desert. You see the Storm Prediction Center giving our outlook for thunderstorm likelihood past the Kern County line in the desert and also in the Sierra to our north. A slight chance we get some of that here at home, but again, because of that dry air, that sunshine and that heat, we actually have a lot more stability than we had yesterday, but only for today. Tomorrow we're going to try and bring some of that action back in. So look at how we've warmed up to the low 90s already this morning. It's only 11 a.m. 80s still for Delano, McFarland, and Taft, even up into those mountain locations. Everybody in the 80s already. 99 in China Lake, 98 in Ridgecrest. Not even lunchtime yet. So you know it's going to be a scorcher out. That widespread 100s for the valley. If you're going to be heading out to the splash parks, they're open 1 to 6. You see 100s basically the whole time you're out there. So make sure that you're hydrating, you're reapplying the sunscreen for the kids as they are getting wet, and keep in mind it's still humid, so you don't want to overexert yourself. It's really hard on your body to deal with weather like this, and we are hotter and humid tomorrow, even hotter heading into the weekend. More on that coming up in your full forecast.
Right now, DMV offices across the state, including right here in Kern County, are shut down. The reason? Preparing employees to process real ID transactions and reinforcing customer service training. The training is taking place at 183 DMV field offices, commercial drive test centers, and industry business centers all throughout the state. More than 5,000 employees are receiving the training at their home offices, which will open for business again at 1 p.m. Customers, though, are still able to dial DMV call centers and conduct business online during these closures. Beginning in October 2020, the federal government will require passengers flying within the U.S. to present a real ID-compliant form of identification before flying. President Trump is going to federal court to try to prevent the release of his tax returns. He filed a lawsuit in Washington asking for injunctions and restraining orders. They would apply to any member of the House Ways and Means Committee, to the New York State Attorney General, and the tax commissioner. The House committee went to court earlier this month trying to enforce its subpoena for Trump's tax returns. Lawmakers said they need them to investigate how the IRS handled Trump's tax compliance. Puerto Rico Governor Ricardo Rossello is expected to resign today. Puerto Rico's Secretary of Justice is expected to take Rossello's place. Word of Rossello's resignation comes after more than a week of protests in the U.S. territory. Those protests erupted after the publication of offensive group chat messages between the governor and members of his inner circle. Rossello's chief of staff has already submitted his resignation, set to take effect on July 31st. U.S. federal regulators are fining Facebook $5 billion for privacy violations and instituting new oversight and restrictions on its business. The fine is the largest the Federal Trade Commission has ever levied on a tech company, but that won't put much of a dent into the nearly $56 billion in revenue Facebook reported last year. CEO Mark Zuckerberg will have to personally certify his company's compliance with its privacy programs as part of this settlement. The FTC said that false certifications could expose him to civil or criminal penalties. The commission opened their investigation after revelations that data mining firm Cambridge Analytica had gathered details on as many as 87 million Facebook users without their permission. Facebook does not admit any wrongdoing as part of the settlement. The family of astronaut Neil Armstrong has received a $6 million settlement from the hospital where he died. That's according to a probate court file. The legendary moonwalker died in Cincinnati 7 years ago in what was attributed to complications from coronary bypass surgery. But according to the New York Times, Armstrong's sons later threatened to file a wrongful death lawsuit against Fairfield Hospital and hired a heart expert to review the medical records. The expert concluded not only that the hospital made fatal mistakes, but also that the surgery was probably unnecessary in the first place. The Cincinnati Enquirer says that the Mercy Health Hospital system later agreed to pay the settlement, while the family agreed to stay silent. Armstrong, who led the Apollo 11 flight to the moon, died at the age of 82 in 2012. All right, now we're going to head back to Chief Meteorologist Elena Rusk, take another look outside, get into those details a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick look at Tropical Depression Delilah. I keep wanting to call it Delilah, and it's pretty slow out there. It's staying far to our south. It's just fascinating to watch that here in the Pacific Basin, we've already had 4 named storms. This is D. As we take a look at the monsoon, not attached to the tropics, but feeling tropical in nature, very hot and humid. Now, most of that moisture has pushed back toward Phoenix and Vegas for the day. You see it's just out of reach for Kern County. So we're going to have more sunshine, a bit more warmth out there, and a little bit of drier conditions as far as the rain goes, but we're still feeling very humid, especially for us here in California. We would call this very humid with low 90s for the heart of the valley, 80s up in the mountains, still very close to the 90s, or to the hundreds, for China Lake. So as you see some cloud cover coming through some of these cells trying to fire with some showers and thunderstorms, it's not looking as active as yesterday, and then we're going to get a fresh wind to push all of that moisture back out of the way. But it's an upper level wind. It doesn't come down here to the valley floor to scrub that pollution out. So we're still hazy with air that's unhealthy for sensitive groups. We're still very hot at 104 in the forecast for Bakersfield, 105 in Lamont and Arvin. We're going to see 90s for all those locations in the mountains. Again, you saw they're already in the 80s, so they keep climbing together. That humidity, some building clouds, makes it quite uncomfortable for the heat up there for you. And down into the desert, plenty of heat. 104 in Cal City, 106 in Ridgecrest today. Now, again, that moisture has pulled back a little bit, and you see some of that upper level flow bringing fresh ocean air over the top of our heads, but it's not cooling us down. It's not getting that pollution out. You're not even going to really notice a breeze. It'll be about 5 to 15 miles an hour. this afternoon. And then watch how that high retrogrades a little bit tomorrow. That's going to drag that monsoonal moisture right toward Kern County again. So tomorrow afternoon looks to be like yesterday was as far as the showers and thunderstorm threats. And then that high is back out of the way. So drier air will come on shore. See how these contours have changed? That's going to heat us way up. We're going from 104 today and tomorrow in the forecast to 105 Friday and Saturday. At least it's a drier heat, but it's still hazy. And then by Sunday, that's our hottest day of this trend. Now looking at 108 potentially that afternoon, down to 106 Monday. So we do have a heat advisory in effect as we talk about several days in a row of very intense heat for us. And then we're still trying to hold on to those 100s much of next week. Now into the mountain forecast, you saw the upper 90s for the Kern River Valley with the humidity the next couple afternoons. Drier 100s for you this weekend. Very hot up there. Tehachapi, Fraser Park, both seeing low 90s the next couple afternoons. Hotter but drier come this weekend. So it's going to be an uncomfortable couple days. And if you thought it was hot already, we're not even under a heat advisory yet. So it's ramping up.
Good to know.
Yeah, fun.
Thanks, Elena. And of course, we're bringing you this newscast online today because we are streaming Robert Mueller's testimony over our air, and we're also streaming it on Facebook. So if you'd like, you can hop over there and check that out. Have a good morning.